Welcome, my Diehards. Welcome to Dryfire Diehards number 2. Today, I'm going to actually go back and we're going to talk a little bit about grip and grip pressures and grip placement and a couple of those things within a few minutes. Something to think about, something that I think about. Maybe it'll intrigue you to think about something else about your grip. Not saying my grip's the right way or the way. There's a bunch of different ways I know how to grip a pistol. So, what we're going to talk about is, first I'm going to take my mag with dummy. Clear. Clear. Okay. Depressed trigger. Anyway, so when we think of a pistol, I've got it from a couple of instructors, Tim Herron, Ben Steger, Joel Park, a lot of guys about gripping with your strong hand or your main dominant hand as lightly as possible, just enough to hold the gun. Or what does that mean? That's kind of saying, don't let it fall, but don't just let it sit in your hand. But don't really be applying a lot of pressure. Just hold it. Kind of like you're holding a cup. Think about it like that way. Holding something. Just holding it. You don't have to be vicing on it. Just hold it. And then on your support hand, and that's typical, my left hand, this is a crushing force. This thing is supposed to be crushing on the pistol as hard as it possibly can. Even to the point of probably even sights moving a little bit due to how strong I'm holding it. Just backing off just a tad, I think. But I'm not an expert, like I said, so this is just some things I worked on. So I hold the pistol like high and tight, finger on the slide when doing so, and this drill, well, not drill, but talk through. Then I'm going to apply. I'm going to bring sure my fingers are up here, and then I'm really going to get my hand around here, and I'm putting pressure in here with my palm, applying into the grip panel, and as you'll kind of see, my strong hand thumb over here kind of just like off in the breeze kind of thing. I don't get a real high and close because I'm going to get cut that way. I'm not. Shooting pistols getting chopped up by grip, by the slide is no fun. So when I bring my grip around, I am then applying a lot of pressure with my support hand. As you'll know, then we have a very stable dot presentation sight picture. So then thinking about this is like we're just pressing hard with the hand. It's going to feel weird. You're going to feel kind of like tension in this arm, I think, at first. You're going to feel in your support hand side or your non-dominant side. You're going to feel some pressures. But when I have that, I can then rip through if I have the proper grip, my proper grip, I can rip through that trigger terribly. Just slap it. And if I can slap the trigger at that point, I at appreciable distances, 7, 10 yards, maybe even 15, you can kind of get away with that. When you start getting out to like 20, 25 yards, you need to actually give a little more thought to the trigger. Not necessarily be super observant of the trigger, but you can't slap that thing like it owes you money at that distance. So I'm thinking about grip. I know some people like to, and I would say my wrists are locked out at this point. Yeah, so my wrists are locked. More focusing on that support hand grip pressure more than worry about like putting conscious thought into a wrist lock. But that's just for me. I know these things can kind of get rambly, but that's how it kind of works when you're thinking and talking through these kind of processes. So anyway, go out, press out. I am not really gripping with my hand. I've even used Joel Park's cue. He puts a good cue up. Put it, I think, on Instagram. It's about to make sure he's got, the strong hand or the dominant hand is not over gripping or gripping the gun too hard. He'll have the cue of open my hand. What does he probably mean by that? Kind of means like I could pull my, it's along for the ride in the back. Like, just keep it open and then it means you're not putting a lot of pressure onto it. So yeah, that's kind of a thing I was thinking about grip. Some people like to thumb ledge here on a pistol if it doesn't have like a thumb rest or whatnot. Some people, I've been noticing unconsciously kind of pressing down on it, but I don't require that for my grip or the dot to track. So I'm kind of just touching it, but not really pressing on it. If anything, I move my thumb on it, but it doesn't really. Yeah, so you get a nice dot presentation with this. Holds the gun securely. Stays relatively flat for me. I do shoot like 140 power factor ammunition. That's kind of around factory ammo, but I load it myself, so it's a little bit spicier than most people would be if they're competing with this kind of stuff. So, just kind of thoughts on grip. My thoughts, how I grip a pistol. It always kind of changes though too when I ever learn something new from a different person. I know some people like to do isometric pressure and kind of like try to horseshoe. They call it breaking a horseshoe. I think Bob Vogel claimed that. I don't subscribe to that. There's a lot of different things though that people like to do too. So, guys, experiment it, work with it, try some things out for your grip, and see how it works for you. If you get better consistent dot tracking or sight trackment with it, or it just feels good. If you're gripping the pistol properly, it's going to hurt, and you know you're going to be doing a good job when your arms are tired after like 10-15 minutes of hard, dedicated work in dry fire with a very proper grip. I recommend a dry fire. Do not have a lazy grip. Grip it as if you are shooting it, if you're in a match, because then the cognitive pathways are going and churning. You don't then need to focus on a grip because it's already subconscious in there that you're going to grip the pistol that way every single time and not having a crappy grip. I'd even say having the most proper grip and having a slower, speaking of the draw, is having the proper grip out of the holster is far more important than I feel than ripping that gun out of there and having a crappy draw and blazing through some targets and then have to fix it because you can't get good shots or you're missing and you're having deltas and you can't afford deltas like in a class fire setting or any setting really, depending on your division and your points and your level, or the state itself. So just think about it, guys. Grip, good. Just hold the firearm with this hand, hold it, just hold it and crush it with the left hand or your dominant hand. You can get away with it. But anyway, do your work. Until next time, guys, get out and do the things.